Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back. It's been a month since I uploaded my previous episode. Yeah, that one was with Jessica Perry. She's very incredible, very knowledgeable and insightful about her own field, very eloquent. So go check that episode out because I learned a lot from her that episode, namely what the hell a PCR machine was, polymerase chain reaction machine. And I learned that on that episode because I didn't know what the hell it was before that. But yeah, go check that episode out. And Jessica, shout out to you and thank you for coming on this podcast. I'm actually working on a little song with her, a little duet. So when she finishes editing that, we shall see how it turns out. Go check that out as well. Shameless plugs. Yeah, apologies for the month hiatus. It wasn't really planned actually. I wasn't like, okay, 7 episodes in, I'm going to take a break. No, it wasn't like that. I just wanted to go on a few trips with my friends who are graduating soon in like a few months, actually. Holy shit. I wanted to go on a few trips with them, and I wasn't sure how I felt about bringing a mic on the road trip and doing a podcast there because, to be honest, I'm a little shy doing this in front of people. That, and I wanted to go on the trip uninhibited, unencumbered by this responsibility. Yeah, but it's good to be back, and I apologize if there's any one of you out there like waiting for an episode to come out. I doubt it, but that's very flattering to hear if there's anyone out there doing so. So thank you for those who listen to me, and my apologies for the break. And I'm here to stay. This quarantine is getting very, very, very boring. Like, if it wasn't for that trip, I feel like I'd go insane. I mean, that's dramatic, but it's a little bit bland life these days. So if I'm not doing something, I'm bored out of my mind. And to be honest, to be completely transparent, I've not been doing much in my free time other than gaming. Yeah, that's all I've been doing. I've been trying to read, but my attention span fails me, especially because in 6 days my school restarts, so my mind's in the break mode for as long as possible before school starts. I'm reading this book called Principles by Ray Dalio, which is like life principles, economic principles that he follows, and he's the CEO of Bridgewater Associates, which is like a hedge fund and a bunch of other investing activities they indulge in. And I needed to learn a little bit about that. So I'm reading that book, but I'm like a fourth through. It was taking forever to get through the book. Not because the book is hard to read, but just because I'm a lazy fucker. I'm a big procrastinator, even at my best. But yeah, reading got me into thinking, like, what else is there out there to do for fun? And it got me thinking about like hobbies and shit, which also I have not indulged in for a long time. I'm a man of hobbies. Like, I love hobbies, and I have multiple of them, and I like to try out a lot of new things. But that's if I'm not lazy. But 90% of the time I am, so I can't really do anything about it. I mean, I can. I'm just lazy to change my being lazy. So one could call that a vicious cycle. But yeah, I really do plan on revisiting my hobbies. And like, for me, what counts as hobbies is those things that you do during which time just like flies by. Like 6 hours gone, 7 hours gone, 8 hours gone, and you didn't even know it. Like you forgot to eat or something. I mean, that's my definition of it. Probably completely different from a lot of you out there. A lot of people have tiny hobbies here and there, but I'm either an all-in or all-out person. I don't know how to be in between. That's ironic because the level of indulgence I partake in my hobbies is not all in or all out because I'm inconsistent. But while I'm doing it, I'm either all in or all out, if that makes even a little shred of sense. This episode, I wanted to talk about my hobbies. And since we're starting off 2021 already, Jesus Christ, it's 2021. Yeah, since we are starting 2021 off already, why not start off on a positive note? Because if you read the news, there's not much positive things going on. I mean, Tesla stocks are up, but like, what else? You know? Yeah, there's not many positive things to look out for these days. So it has to come from within. We are all capable of producing positive outcomes in the world. And I think hobbies are a little snippet of what human beings are capable of. And if one gets really good at those hobbies, it's not even a snippet anymore. You become an all out like connoisseur at it. That's even better. Yeah. But I have two categories of hobbies, I would say. And one of them is not necessarily hobbies in the technical sense, but rather activities I want to make my hobbies, because these are like beneficial activities, beneficial habits to have, beneficial activities to partake in. One of them being reading, like I already mentioned before. Reading for me I have a mixed relationship with reading, because when I do it, I feel very accomplished and I feel like I have a plethora of new words I can use, and my mind just runs a little bit faster as a result of said reading. But my attention span, once again, fails me. Like when I read, one book I read in 2019 taught me the Pomodoro technique. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but it's like this method where you time yourself for 25 minutes and then just do whatever you've set out to do. And for those 25 minutes, you don't take a break. That's just your zone. You're just supposed to do it for 25 minutes. The idea is that it's not that long of a time for you to commit to. But then, the hardest part about doing something is starting it, so that Pomodoro technique kind of like forces you into the mode of just doing. So yeah, I have to read like that. No, I'm not like other people where I can just like sit down and read a book endlessly, like for like 4 hours. Okay, kudos to anyone who could do that. One of my friends can do that. He's a freaking bookworm, and I have nothing but respect for the guy. I've mentioned him in my podcast before. He recommended me the book, When Breath Becomes Air, which is like a beautiful book, coming from a recommendation that came from a beautiful person. He's like a great guy, but unlike him, I can't sit down and read nonstop. Like the book, page turning is not a thing for me, because no matter how good the book may be, the limiting factor is always my attention span. And that usually caps at 25 minutes. But the good thing about this Pomodoro technique is that you can rinse and repeat. What I do is like, let's say I want to read like 2 hours on average per day. What I would do is like time myself for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, rinse and repeat like 4 times. And then I get what what I want to get, which is like 2 hours of reading, kind of. But then I feel like there's a little caveat there, because like that 5-minute break of you indulging in something else or taking a break, I feel like cuts off the possibility of like very, very deep learning. No pun intended. Yeah, I don't know. But it works for me. It gets me reading, so I stick to it. Even though it's unconventional, it works for me. Yeah, another activity that I want to make my hobby is like writing. Writing for me is a very, very rewarding activity. I love writing, and I would consider myself pretty decent at writing. Nowhere near the caliber of some of my friends, but I do enjoy it. And in writing, I enjoy more like metaphorical, abstract, subtle pieces rather than like argumentative pieces, because God knows I can't make an argument for shit. Yeah, I enjoy like narrative pieces. Like I don't really enjoy logical pieces, because it's like, I don't know, I'm a fan of oration when it comes to that, because I feel like verbalizing arguments and debates I enjoy way more than reading it on a piece of paper. Like research papers and study pieces, That shit's really tough for me to write because I don't know, it's just boring. Like, I'm not saying those are boring, it's just boring for me to write because it's not one of my strong suits, you know? Yeah, recently I wrote a piece for Listen Up Myanmar. It was more Listen Up Myanmar is like a new blog-ish thing that one of my friends started. It talks about like glaring issues back home, social issues, environmental issues, political issues, gender inequality, all that good stuff. You should definitely go check them out on Instagram. I wrote a piece for one of them, but I feel like it was too metaphorical of a piece for the general public to enjoy reading, because that's not the kind of thing you'd look for in a political piece. No, not political piece, in a like an informative blog, you know? Yeah. But I enjoy writing stuff like that. It's relaxing. It's like there's no rigid rules to kind of limit you from putting your thoughts onto paper. I like making analogies. I like thinking tangentially, if you know what I mean. Like, that's analogical thinking, I would say. I enjoy that. I enjoy abstract thinking because I feel like I have less of a touch with reality and I'm more in tune with like intuition and stuff. And I go with my gut a lot. So that kind of writing really piques my interest. So yeah, I like writing stuff like that. And I do want that to be a hobby. The only reason it's not is because when it comes to writing, there's a part of me that's always dissatisfied with what's put on paper. Like if I write down a sentence, there's always something I want to change about that sentence, even though there's no one telling me it's a bad sentence other than myself. So yeah, writing doesn't really fall into the hobby category for me. It's more like I like doing it, but it's still freaking tough. It's not like something I could just like chill and do. It requires a lot of thought from me, especially because like, okay, so in high school, I would write a lot of essays for any classes like anyone else does, but I would only do it at last minute because if I finished any earlier, I would like fixate on the paper so much that it wouldn't have made any difference if I turned it in a little bit later, you know? I would like just like edit and re-edit on top of that. So it gets a little tedious. And when it comes to writing, that's why I like to kind of do it last minute or like do it under pressure so that I'm not so hindered and slowed down by my own perfectionism. And it's not the healthy kind, I'm telling you. But I do enjoy writing a lot. I think it has a lot of power to voice what verbal words can't voice, because you can just be a little more meticulous with your writing, which is exactly what I'm getting at. Like, because you have to be such a perfectionist with it, the kind of content that comes out of it is just way more curated and well thought out and well put together. Yeah, so that's my little spiel on writing. I like it, but I wouldn't count it as one of my hobbies. The next one is working out. Working out, I have a funny relationship with working out. This entire quarantine, it's only recently that I started working out again. But when I was in the mode of working out, when I was doing it regularly, I loved it. Like, I always love that endorphin rush at the end of like sweating. That comes from like sweating, just lifting heavy things, just like making your body do things you didn't know it could previously do. And the cool thing about it is that the more you do it, the crazier things you can do with your body. Like I was doing like not dragon flags. You know that thing where like you hold a pole and then you kind of make your entire body diagonal with the exception of your head. Yeah, I was like doing that shit and stuff. Like that got me hooked. I was like, okay, I need to keep doing this. And then quarantine happened and gyms closed and I'm like, okay, what the fuck's the point? Like, I'm not even going to use my body here, which is a terrible mindset because you do need the immunity to fend off the disease. But I got lazy as per usual. But I love working out though, like weightlifting, cardio, both of them. Weightlifting more so because I feel like in terms of results, in terms of results, results as in like numbers, like piling on numbers, a number after number each time you go to the gym, increasing in the weight you can lift, that kind of tangible progress you can see right in front of your eyes really, really hooked me. And then and plus pair that with cardio, I was seeing like so much fat being burned off. And I'm all about like body positivity, and I feel like working out is a number one way to build a healthy relationship with your body. Because like you're basically taking care of it, you're nurturing it, it's your little baby. And the kind of things you can achieve with working out, both weightlifting wise and cardio wise, like running, jumping rope, just like the agility and the refreshment you feel afterwards. I don't know, man, there's nothing that compares. The only reason I'm categorizing this in a sense that it's not exactly a hobby is because, once again, I get lazy. Like when quarantine happened, poof, all my motivation to do gym was gone, absolutely gone. But because I came back from the trip, I don't know, there's something about trips that like kind of motivates you to push yourself a little further afterwards, which is what happened to me. I'm getting some motivation back again to start working out again, which I have for like, I've worked out for 2 days straight. Okay, I'm giving myself too much credit here. Probably gonna veer off into the direction of not working out again, but let's be positive. I'm gonna be positive. I think I'm gonna keep working out. I still got to do cardio though. When I say I'm working out again, I'm just saying weightlifting. Because that's easy to do, you just pick stuff up and put it back down. Cardio, on the other hand, it's very taxing. Especially like jumping rope. I love jumping rope, but damn, that thing takes so much out of you. Even if it is like 15 sets of 1 minute jumping rope per day or something like that, shit takes so much out of you. But the refreshment, I'll say again, does not compare to anything else. So hopefully I'll pick that back up again. Weightlifting, though, I think I could be consistent with that, except leg day. God, don't even get me started on leg day. And plus, the equipment I have right now is just a single set of... Whoa, that was a burp. A single set of... what's it called? Totally lost my train of thought. A single set of adjustable dumbbells. Yeah, that's all I have. So every exercise I do is like a unilateral exercise. It's just one-armed bench presses, one-armed rows, one-armed curls, just everything one-arm. So it takes twice the amount of time it would usually for me to work out at a gym. But, I mean, you make do with what you have, It's kind of fun, actually. Like, I'm doing different exercises because you're doing it with one hand. It's targeting your abs more. All that shit. And you can stabilize more. Yeah, that's my little... I got a little excited about weightlifting there. I do miss it. I can't wait for gyms to open again, but I can't and won't go until vaccines are properly rolled out and everyone's immunized and everyone's safe again, because I think a gym is the worst place you can be right now due to the respiratory effects of COVID and the aerosol transmission of COVID. But yeah, I have like a little bit of notes here. I forgot to tell you, my eye is infected. If you are watching me through YouTube, you can tell my right eye makes me look like I'm stoned because before I went on a trip to Colorado this December break, I got a little tiny sty. My mom noticed it first, actually. I called her asking her how her day was and shit, and then she told me that I had a little red bump on my right eye. I didn't even notice. And then, what do you have it, like, luck would have it, oh my god, I don't know that saying. Luck would have it? What do you have it? No. Luck would have it, right? Yeah. My apologies. Luck would have it, my eye, 3 days later, became a puffy piece of shit. It looked like someone socked me in the eye. Yeah, it became really, really puffy. I almost couldn't open it anymore. And then 3 days after that, so this is like 6 days into the infection, it became a little bump again. So I went to the doctor, and then the doctor was like, okay, it's a sty. But then, so and then wait, I'm trying to recall. And then he gave me a sty medication, sty ointment. I think it was like erythromycin or something like that. So I applied that, and then the little bump popped, and all like the nasty shit, like pus and shit, came out. And then I was like, oh fuck yeah, like this is gone for sure. I'm healing at this point, right? And then I went on the trip, which in hindsight was a very bad decision, because you're supposed to like apply warm compresses to this, and like because I was on the road, that was really hard for me to do that, and it was really fucking cold in Colorado. It was like -15. Yeah, it was like -15. So I was getting like the opposite of warm compresses, so the bacteria, I guess, stayed in one spot. But yeah, the sty popped, but then I think because of that cold weather, it became an all-out eyelid infection again. So if you're seeing me through the camera now, you can see my eyes a little bit like puffy and tiny, small, because I'm having a hard time opening it. And I think this is called blepharitis. I think I was just diagnosed today. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, who knows, I might need surgery, but hopefully I won't get to that point. I really hope I don't get to that point. Okay, anyways, enough about my eye. Just because I did the accent there a little bit, even if you even detected it at all, one of my hobbies is doing impressions and accents, and I don't do it in public because I'm a fucking embarrassment and I'm really shy. But then I will say that's one of my hobbies, and that's all I'll say of that. That was fucking terrible. That's all I'll say of that. That's the best I can do. Drawing would be one of my actual hobbies, because drawing like when I draw, right? When I do digital art, this is what I do now. I've moved on from pen and paper to the iPad because the Procreate application is just too good. You can like animate and shit too. It's just too good. But I do miss pen and paper sometimes, and I don't think anything compares to a pen and paper combination, or even a pencil. Just nothing compares. It's just digital art for me is more convenient to do because my iPad's right in front of me. I could just pick up my pen and start drawing. Whereas with pen and paper, you kind of got to go seek it out. You know, you kind of got to go buy pen and paper. But yeah, and when I say drawing, I don't mean creating my own pieces. I mean solely copying other people's pieces. But I don't mean like copying. It's more like, oh yeah, no, it's definitely copying. In every sense of the word, it's copying. I see good artworks on Google Images that I like, and I'm like, okay, I could draw this, and then I try it out, and then luck would have it, I can draw it perfectly. No, that's completely conceited. It's not perfect. No, I know how to recreate people's pieces, although not to perfection. But that's it. I don't have an artistic eye, and hence I don't know how to create my own pieces. But give me someone else's work, I will copy it. I will imitate it. But hey, I don't ever try to mask it as my own, so I think it's fine. Look at me justifying myself. Imitation is the best form of imitation is the best form of flattery. That's the saying. Yeah. Yeah, I like copying other people's work. I mean, that sounds so bad to say, but okay, if you're watching me on YouTube, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's just like I would see the last piece I did, I think, was of an anime character named oh my god. I'm gonna get so much shit for this. I forgot the anime character's name. Give me 1 second. Killua from Hunter x Hunter, like the little badass kid. That's Killua's. That's that Gon's best friend, I think. Yeah. He was the latest piece I drew, but even then, you know, like someone else already drew him. Hence, there exists an anime of him. And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. This is the kind of drawing and painting I like to do, is look at an already existing piece and just imitate it on my iPad. I would say in terms of talent, that compared to coming up with your own is worlds apart. My thing doesn't require much talent. It requires control over your pen and stuff, but that's about it. Whereas the other one, you have to have a completely original eye. Yeah, drawing is something that when I do, it takes hours. It takes like 7-8 hours to finish a piece. But those 7 to 8 hours pass by so quick, I don't even notice. This is the kind of thing that I would consider a hobby. It's like when you're doing it, time just disappears. It's just the next day already. You forget to eat and shit. Yeah, drawing definitely is one of my... Imitation drawing is definitely one of my hobbies. The next, I think, is a recent one. One of my more recent hobbies is walking, taking a walk, just like randomly. Just like, no matter what time of the day, just take an hour walk outside, listen to a podcast. I listen to my own podcast. No, I'm kidding. I don't. I listen to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's probably the only podcast I listen to consistently and constantly. Yeah, like listen to a podcast and just take a walk for however long the length of the podcast is. Or if I'm not listening to anything, which is also good to do, because when you walk, like you kind of marinate your thoughts on whatever you're thinking of, whatever you're focused on, whatever your goals are, whatever your future plans are. These thoughts just come pouring into your head. It's like opposite meditation, but also as peaceful. Like meditation, your goal is to acknowledge that you have all these rampant thoughts and to kind of acknowledge them and despite them be at peace. Whereas walking makes you think of these things, and while thinking of them, you're at peace because you're on this like outdoors tranquil walk and you're just thinking of things in a lighthearted and chill way, you know? So walking, I would say, is like opposite meditation, but equally peaceful and equally beneficial, because where meditation kind of makes you, how do I say, more level-headed, more calm and peaceful, walking kind of puts everything into perspective. And like, yeah, I enjoy walks where I listen to things and not listen to anything at the same time. Like sometimes I just like don't feel like thinking, so I just put in a podcast or like play a playlist of my songs and just start walking for an hour. And I think it's good exercise too. I think this was my way of kind of substituting my previously intense cardio sessions, because I just don't have that kind of energy these days just to like pick up a jump rope and just fucking rigorously jumping rope or like doing burpees and shit. Like, man, I used to have that. I used to be way more active than this, and now it's just like, fuck, man. I have nothing else to do, so I'll just walk. Just lethargic, constantly lethargic. Yeah, walking. I've been over at my friend's house a lot, and he has a really nice neighborhood, which is one of my biggest incentives for starting to walk, because like exploring corners of the neighborhood here and there was a big incentive, because it's like a little like treasure hunt, a little scavenger hunt. You'll never know what you find. Like when I first found the church that I didn't know exist at the corner of their neighborhood, I'm like, wow, the ambiance here is pretty nice. And it was at like 12 a.m. So it's pitch black, no one was there. It was just nice to just chill out on the bench. It was just sit and breathe, I guess. Yeah. Oh, and I think that's also why I enjoy walking, is because I like exploring things. I think my friend Andy actually told this. Here I go again mentioning Andy. He told me that the best way to explore a city for him is to just walk around and get to know it like personally, intimately, you know, not going on like tours and shit, because that's just like artificial. But when you're walking, you find a level of intimacy with the place you're walking within. And I think that those words really stuck to me, because I really enjoy exploring. I really have enjoyed exploring way more after we talked about it. And putting that into perspective, I think that's why I like walking a lot now. And since I've came back from the trip, I've not walked yet because I'm a lazy piece of shit, as always. But plan to do it again because there's nothing wrong with it. Only everything to gain from it, you know? One of my other hobbies is YouTube because we all know, everyone falls down a YouTube rabbit hole at one point in their lives. But YouTube is one of those things where I just turn off my brain and watch. Well, sometimes there will be a little silver lining there where sometimes in every definition of the word sometimes very frugally I would watch informative videos, not by choice, but just because they would just like pop up and I would my attention span opens up to it randomly. But most of the things I watch on YouTube are just for pure comedic purposes. But also one of my biggest inspirations is a YouTuber. I think I've named him before. His name's Cody Ko. He has a podcast like this, and I don't know, he just really inspires me in the content creation sense. It started off with him goofing off, and I just found it funny. But then I found out about his work ethic, his creative, like not mindset, but like he has a really, even if he is a wild card content creator, because content creation is a wild card, you know, even if it is that, he has a very, very set out goal to accomplish every time he does something. And I really, really appreciate that and am very inspired by that. So he's one of the gems that came out of me always falling down into YouTube rabbit holes. And yeah, like YouTube isn't all that bad. There's some dumb entertainment in there, but you can really learn a lot from YouTube. There's a lot of educational ones too. Educational rabbit holes too. Like podcasts on YouTube are so good. I think there's a second layer of insight to be had in terms of podcasts by watching someone do a podcast rather than just listening to them, because you can really see their facial expressions and where you wouldn't know 100% how they're feeling about certain topic they're talking about if you're just listening on Spotify or something. If you see them talk on the camera, I think that's a very authentic way of talking about things, because it's just like a live recorded conversation, you know? Yeah. And I was going to talk about programming. I recently got into programming like this summer, but I'm very inept at it. I've just had one class on it. Wait, my camera turned off. What the hell was that? Okay, and we're back. Okay. Yeah. I was saying I was going to talk about programming, but then I'm not good at it at all. Well, at least yet. And I don't know how serious I'll get with that. But then since I'm taking a data science minor, applied analytics, which is basically data science, as a minor in USC, I might have to get real good at it. I still need to learn how to connect the IDE to APIs and stuff. Just because application of programming comes outside the IDE, you know, like you just connect with everything else. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'm not sure that you do either, because I don't know if the majority of who listens to this podcast are programmers. But programming, okay, so programming, there's like this IDE. I'm probably butchering this explanation, but fuck it, I'll go for it. An IDE is like where the environment in which you program, but then that can be linked to other applications through APIs, like automatically writing an algorithm that automatically sends emails, writing a program that automatically sends emails to your friends and stuff. That has to be done through an API, which is like almost like a link to the IDE and the software that you're trying to manipulate. I think if there are any programmers out there, don't give me any hate. That's my very bare bones understanding of the topic. So yeah, that's that for programming, because I don't know shit about it, and I hope to continue learning it. And of course, last but not least, my newest hobby is this podcast. And like everything else, I get lazy to do it because I don't always have something to say, you know? And I feel like forcing it out of myself to say something when I really don't want to is inauthentic. And the whole point of a podcast is, I feel like, to be authentic. This is why podcasts are uncut, you know, like YouTube videos and stuff. I'm not saying they're not authentic. I have a lot of people I have respect for that does YouTube videos, but there's a difference between having an uncut video versus an edited video where there's like multiple cuts and stuff, you know? They serve different purposes. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying with podcasts, I feel like you should really bank on that uncut version, you know? And it's not always easy to talk to yourself or find someone to talk to for like hours on end, or in my case, like a little over an hour. But even like my solo podcast that lasts beyond 30 minutes, a little bit beyond 30 minutes, is hard to do sometimes because, well, one, like now I'm running out of breath and my throat's starting to sting. What was I saying? Fuck, I always do this. Oh yeah, I don't always have something to say, and I can't always force an idea out of my head like that, you know? So, but then I do really enjoy talking to myself and doing this podcast because I enjoy podcasts for two reasons. Is one, because I can really say what I think, because not many people listen to podcasts, so it's like you can say where the fuck you want, you know? But also there's a line. There's definitely a line, and I am walking that line. Well, no, I'm behind that line because the amount of shit I can get from Burmese people, if I say something wrong, is, oh my God, so scary. So scary. The kind of hate you get from people back home isn't the hate of the same caliber as people elsewhere. Back home, people are just ruthless when it comes to hate. You really have to have thick skin. So, yeah, podcasting, my newest hobby. I love it, especially because I have this fancy new mic setup, and it's just very, very satisfying to speak into a mic and know I'm gonna sound okay. And it took 8 whole episodes, but I finally got my audio down. And although it looks like I have a giant penis in front of me right now, I enjoy it. No, I enjoy the setup. I enjoy talking to this mic. It's very satisfying. And all the sexual innuendos that can be had out of that, you keep to yourself. Believe me, I've thought of it if you have to. Yeah, that's that for this episode. I enjoyed this. It's just like a little rant on me as a human being, and I feel like I should be more authentic on this podcast. You can be personal with people without revealing everything about yourself, you know, like with YouTube content creators. I love their content, and I think I know them as people. I know their personalities and how they talk, how they act, how they carry themselves, but you still don't really know them, you know? And I feel like there's a level of authenticity you can reach, and that should be reached, that doesn't require you truly revealing every single detail about yourself. And I think this episode did that for me, at least a little bit. So I really enjoyed it. I think this was an idea that one of my friends posted on my Instagram polls. Me asking like, what other topics do you want to listen to? Because I was running out of ideas after the 6th episode or something. So yeah, hobbies. They're always good, and I feel like they're a great way to ground yourself as a person, and they're like little snippets into your character, you know? Each hobby, I think, displays a little side of yourself that you otherwise can't express or are limited in expressing. Like writing, reading, none of which are my actual hobbies, but you know what I'm saying? Like hobbies like reveal a side to you in ways that other things can't. It's just like paints yourself as a colorful person. And I think everyone should at least try to find a hobby, because I feel like we've been put on this planet for a reason, and one of those reasons is to enjoy ourselves. and hobbies are a great way to do that. Yeah. I enjoyed this episode. I hope you did too. Sorry it went on a little longer than a usual solo episode. But thank you for listening, and I will see you all next episode. Next episode, I'll have my friends and colleagues, Felix and Naiman, who designed my logos and YouTube banners and whatnot. And I'll be talking about their business and how they balanced it out with their high school careers and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's already been scheduled, so see you next week. I'll see you, Dope Graphic Studio. That's what they're called. That's what their business is called, Dope Graphic Studio. Before my episode comes out, please go check their page out. They do excellent work. Okay, last bit. Bye.